Welcome to Mike Happens, a podcast that brings you inspiring, funny, and authentic stories about resilience, life's unexpected journeys, and the incredible strength of the human spirit. My name's Jay Connor Riley, your host, and as a voiceover artist who's also navigating life with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, I've learned firsthand that life's toughest moments often make the best stories. All right, everyone, we are back for another episode of Mike Happens. Today, I'm very excited. We're kicking it off. We're getting some voiceover people in here, and today we have the multi-award-nominated British voice actor, also known as the Swiss Army knife of voiceover, as the official voice of Bounce Laundry Monster in the commercials, specializing in character voiceover work for animated and video games. He also does commercials, books, dubbing, and more. Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming on Chris Woodworth. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Jay. Thanks for having me. Good to be.
How are we doing today?
I'm good. Things are busy, even in my personal life as well. But feeling generally good, pumped up, energized.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's usually all at once, right? Especially in this industry. It's like everything happens at once.
Yeah, the juggling thing is real. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, you're probably dealing a lot with, clients in the States and stuff, and this kind of, I guess, time, So, yeah, I mean, what? It's 11 o'clock there right now? 11 p.m. Yeah, so it's I see you working and grinding until like 1, 2 a.m. That's pretty impressive. How do you maintain that?
Well, it's I can really go away and have a good think about that, and once I find out, I'll let you know how I deal with it. Because there are times I just kind of run on fumes, or something. But I think maybe it's because recording at that time, usually, even if it's auditions and things like that, it's a really good time to do it because the house is quiet. My partner who works from home, she's asleep. Our puppy is cuddled up with her asleep, and it even though this is just like that late night UK time, it has a sense that the world is asleep. That everything is silence, and it feels like a really good time to be creative. And sometimes when networking at that time, I'm connecting with people across the pond as well. But the times I've actually done jobs for clients in the US, just across the pond, it's usually been maybe like I don't know, early evening my time or something like that. Yeah, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
I've gotten used to the lack of sleep, actually.
I feel like it's funny because I saw it was something talking about how our ancestors way back when we were like caveman days, we had our night owls and then our morning people, and I guess to some extent that kind of passed on. So people that like feel like they're more productive at night and more awake and more doing things, that there's a good chance it's actually like an ancestral instinct, as like you just like you're probably the person that were up at night. I'm the same way, so we were doing the night shift, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Although what is really bad is even though I kind of tend to be nocturnal since I've become a voice actor, working in different time zones at times. The clincher of it is that I'm also a morning person, and also when you because I always seem to be the first one to wake up, usually. But even now that we have this adorable puppy, he's a pug, and around like 7 months old now.
Okay, yeah.
He actually just seems to wake up around a certain time, like a clockwork, and he doesn't really like to lie in, for long. Because before long, he is literally on my chest. He's either licking my face or putting his paw on the side of my face or stretching out across my neck or something like that. So I end up having to take him downstairs, just to kind of give him breakfast, get him outside to the bathroom. And then I just kind of pass out on the couch with him while we snooze, and I just have something on TV for a bit while I'm waking up properly. And I don't know. But yeah, so that's why maybe after a few days or a week, there comes a time that I will crash for a moment. and I really take the time just to do nothing. Yeah, and catch up.
How have you balanced that? Because I feel like a lot of people in this industry, it's 0 to 100, and we also, I feel like, don't give ourselves time to breathe and give ourselves that. So I'm curious, what are some tools that you can shut off and be like, this is Chris's time?
You really have to be quite strict with yourself. I think
Boundaries.
there's no like hidden formula except for like genuinely just making that decision to look after yourself and stop saying, it's okay, I'll be all right, I'll shake it off, I'm fine. No, you're human, you're flesh and blood, your body really needs to recharge. You are going to end up making mistakes. If you start crashing, you're doing things like when you're extremely tired. Yeah, so you gotta just be honest with yourself about those kind of things. You do need a reset. You need to shut off, and so I'd say that just simply just make that decision. Yeah, really.
Yeah, I don't think as many people outside of voiceover realize, but if you're burnt out like that, your voice and your reads and your auditions, they're gonna feel it, and then people are gonna start noticing. And hey, you know what? Maybe it's a good time to find some weird character voices, when you're in that delirium in the booth. But
It's always a good time. Yeah, it really is. But you did touch upon something though. The it's part of not just looking after yourself, like your mental health and everything, but it's tiredness does affect your voice, as well. And so that's why there are periods of time when I'm resting that I just basically go on vocal rest and I'm careful with what I eat and what I drink. If I go to a show or happen to go to a concert or something like that, I fake singing along. I fake
I love
cheer,
that.
you know, yeah, because you get lost in the crowd, that kind of thing. And I'm not going to whoop and cheer and like literally scream all of the lyrics, maybe like I used to do when I was like young, because yeah, again, you gotta look after yourself. And who knows, you want to be ready if
Absolutely.
an audition comes in when you get home. Yeah,
Curious, what's some of your favorite bands and stuff? What do you like to listen to?
man.
Or I guess,
Yeah,
how about your last couple concerts? So make it that way, because I think it's a loaded question when I ask that.
oh man. You know what? Yeah, we've been to see different artists. I mean, we've seen Craig David, for instance.
Okay,
Yeah, live, and so that was really cool. I remember even when I was younger, I saw Alicia Keys live. I even got to see the Jacksons live. After
really?
Michael passed, and they did. Well, his brothers kind of reconnected, and I still remember. During a Friday, my friend called me up and said that he was able to get his last minute tickets for the Jacksons, like literally the Jacksons, because I'm based like Greater Manchester, and they were performing in Manchester, so they had like a few other like lower price tickets that they were just getting rid of, and so yeah, I said let's do it, yeah, I'll meet you there, yeah, and everything, and those ones stick out. They were just monumental, amazing. But I seem to like different types of things. Sometimes I listen to jazz and things like that. There's a young lady that she started posting more TikToks, but I'm quite familiar with her music. From the US, Maya Berlado. Um, it just kind of puts me in a good mood, like listening to her. Very like classically trained jazz singer with scatting and everything. And yeah, I when I comment, I just basically say to her that this is like sunshine. It just kind of puts a smile on my face. Just hearing it.
Sunshine.
Exactly. And I also like the band Lawrence as well.
Okay,
Um, yeah,
I
they
feel like
are
I've
a
heard a little
brother
bit
and
about them, but
have you heard about them?
they sound familiar, but I don't think I don't know
Oh,
anything off the top of my
okay.
head.
They are a brother and sister duo that formed a band, and they are incredible because they're born and bred in New York, so that's where
Okay,
they're based, but they
not too
literally
far
just,
from me, so maybe that's
there you
how I
go.
know. Maybe they did some local stuff.
Oh, yeah, you gotta look them up on YouTube. They do. acoustic-ish, as they call them, versions of some of their songs. They're quirky, but it's like they play their own instruments as well, and because it's like a big brother, younger sister, and the younger sister, Gracie, I believe, incredible voice, just insane, like superstar kind of thing, and they just put so much fun into their songs, and very catchy. They rope their friends in who have incredible vocals. I could geek out, but you just have to look them up.
Yeah,
Just,
I'll
yeah,
definitely have to check them
like a
out.
band Lawrence or something, yeah.
I'm not sure if they're siblings, but there's this group called Ricardo and Gabriela, and they go incredibly insane on the acoustic. Like they're both playing acoustics. They don't do lyrics. It's just them like absolutely going. It's just super incredible. I highly recommend checking them out too.
Nice. So Ricardo and Gabriella, yeah?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll check
Yeah.
them out.
I'll have to send you that link after too.
Yeah. Send that to me, and I'll send you Lawrence.
Perfect. So I guess back to voiceover a little bit. How did you get into this? What maybe led you down this path a little bit? Was there anything? Because you've been doing it for, was it 15 years? You've been kind of dabbling into it.
Oh, no, actually, no. We're quite a bit less than that. More.
Wait, I'm
like,
sorry, 5 years, right? Like COVID.
Yeah.
Sorry, I added a decade to your career there.
No, it's okay. No, it's good. Because what I'll say is I spent around 15, 16 years as an animator beforehand. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Just basically I started doing voiceover during lockdown. That's when I started discovering it, I would say, as a initially like a side career. You've asked this question and I'm like, okay, let's go. Right. How did I start in voiceover? Because I still remember the time when I was really bad at answering this question. I'd go a long way around. But yeah. But let's see how I can do it this time. Yeah, I just basically had the bug. It was an itch I needed to scratch because I'm somebody who grew up being able to do impressions and really fascinated with voice, and I wanted to see if I could do it on the side of my animation career as well. And I just basically networked. I even took a couple of acting courses during the height of COVID, but they were over Zoom. So that made me directable, and I continued to network after I took those. Made lots of friends worldwide that I was constantly talking to each day, and I started taking voice acting classes by different people, and I knew that my niche was going to be animation and video games. That's where I seem to get the most expressive. Because even when I'll go into class, teachers really got to know my dexterity in terms of not just acting, but the actual vocal dexterity from as high as Elmo from Sesame Street, down to I am Groot, everything in between. And so they knew that I could use that. So now I was just kind of combining that with the acting. Yeah, before long, here I am today now, 3 times award nominee in different categories. As you said as well at the start, I voiced the Bounce Laundry Monster. That was like one of the biggest things I've done so far.
That's so cool.
Yeah, lo and behold, I'm now teaching certain workshops, in the areas of voice acting that I have had experience in, I've had results from. So it's been a ride. There are really exciting things happening at the moment, as well. I'm really feeling lucky that I can use my voice as a career. Just to have that aim to move people, I would say. That's why I discovered my aim was.
That's funny. I feel like I had a similar kind of journey in terms of like, I guess, voiceover. When I was a kid, that I feel like I'd get in trouble for like, mimicking people and like, just doing impersonations of, like teachers. You can't do that. My brain was just like ADHD, just like, and I'd kind of do the same with, I remember, who was it? Joe Swanson from Family. Peter, come over here, so like that was one of the first, like when I remember when my voice started getting deep, I was like 14, 15, but I remember like 8 years old, I like 7 or 8 years old, I was obsessed with ET, and I don't know if I can do it anymore, but I would always do his little voice and be like, E.T. Oh no, and just like can't really do it anymore. I don't think that was awful, but
yeah, no, come on, man, that's good, that's good. Take a swig of water, go for it. You need to be able to talk. Yeah,
we're gonna dial it in. Ready?
Because
E.T. phone home.
that's it. I think the closest I could get with ET was it
Heck yeah, that's amazing. The little glowing finger,
You have to do the action. It kind of helps me.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my goodness, that line though, it always got me. But yeah, it's you can't help but do like things from your childhood, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I would do that like, I don't know, 8, 9 years old, and I'm just like making my horse, like my voice all hoarse because it's not really the best. It's pretty harsh on the vocal cords there, but yeah, no, I mean, and it's kind of similar in terms of COVID. COVID was the first time that I started kind of dabbling in myself. I actually got to work with Sarah Jean Sherman. She's one of the casting directors for Animaniacs. And I was just kind of found her, I kind of stumbled on her in 2020. I want to do characters and animation, and she's like, I think you have great potential, blah, blah, blah. But, I think if anything, I would shift towards finding a good commercial coach. She's like, because I think you have great potential there. And not saying I want you to stop on animation and cartoons. She's like, but I would go that direction, get a demo, work with a coach, and then circle back. Because she's like, I think you should really. So I'm actually kind of in the midst of trying to circle back. I had to postpone kind of coaching and stuff due to some health issues and stuff for a few years. So, but 2024, I kind of got jumped back on the bandwagon and started going for it, so, and then fast forward to now, and I've locked in some gigs, locked in 3 agents, and having a conversation with you. So that's really awesome that it's
voiceover is
coming
still
together
there when you're ready to jump back in, right? And that's what you found. Because
absolutely
life happens, and certain things are kind of out of our control, and but it's good to know that you can kind of pick it up again, right? And yeah. Because now you're back on it, so that's really good to know. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the booth built and everything, so that's really cool. Got to do that last year. Got to work with JMC and get my demo done, and
Right.
so that was really, really helpful. But yeah, no, I mean, congratulations too, and your most recent nomination, right, is for the upcoming One Voice. We've got an animation nomination.
Yeah. Best character performance. Yeah. So that was for a villain. Best in the series Bastille. That's out on Camel Launcher. It's a streaming platform for like the Camel world. It almost looks a little bit like anime, I'd say. The villain is called Karn, the Hunter Eater, and he's insane. Yeah, so originally voiced in French, so I had to do it in US English. So yes, I was called upon, this British voice actor from Greater Manchester, to do like a US accent, for a character that had the most lines of dialogue in this, and I had a blast. It was just so much fun because being remotely recorded from the studio in Florida, and what actually happened first was I connected with this guy on LinkedIn because I knew that he was like an audio engineer. He had his hands in many pots, basically, in many jobs. Because he was an audio engineer, seemed to be a bit of a casting director. He'd done some voice acting as well, himself, and a bit of a producer. So he'd accepted my my connection request, and we had a bit of a back and forth. It broke the ice. Before long, he was watching my content without me knowing. And he got in touch and just basically told me about this series that he's kind of casting for, just the US voices for, and he wanted me to be the character, and that was like one of the roles I got without auditioning, so that
That's
was
amazing.
yeah, very cool. And each time we had a recording session, because we had a number of them, it was honestly like hanging out with a friend. We always looked forward to the recording sessions. I mean, obviously, we keep things professional, but I think it's just the process of both of us bringing like our ideas, and me even not just voicing, but at times being the problem solver, as well. When things needed to be altered, and he couldn't quite put his finger on it, like what we can do with this part or something. So we would have like a lot of fun. Sometimes you felt like, oh yeah, I wanted that session to go on for longer,
Yeah.
or there were times that you just kind of come out the booth and you're kind of sweaty and a little achy. I was like, yeah, I feel like I've done a workout. That was good. Like that. Yeah, crazy laughing and fighting, things like that. Yeah. Um, and so that was crazy that that's the role that I got nominated for. So yeah, and I'll be there at the award ceremony in the UK, in the home of Shakespeare, One Voice, where it's
So
taking
cool.
place anyway. Yeah, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Either way, I'll be cheering on the other nominees, and yeah.
And you got a workshop there too, right?
It's yeah, it's more of a talk.
Talk, yeah.
Because
Panel.
yeah, I think the day before I give this presentation, they have like a day of paid workshops, by different voice actors and agents and people like that. I got my slot, in person, and that's my first time doing it in person. Talking about impressions, because last year I talked about social media for voice actors, which went down really well. People took a lot from it, even though it was digital, you know. And because last year when I did it, like I said, it was digital and I couldn't really see anyone.
That makes it tough, especially with that, you know?
Yeah, it was just the person like the tech guy who was controlling everything. He would basically tell me how many people had tuned in, because I knew that afterwards people could, if they missed it, they could go back to it, if they had like a one voice pass. And apparently in the moments I had like 50 people watching live, like people who were going to be at the One Voice conference in person. But yeah, this year is my first time doing it in person. Yeah, as
That's so
well, on
cool.
the busiest day, because that very night is the award ceremony at that place and everything. So, yeah, so this time talking about impressions, I'm happy that they went for my proposal to talk about that, because I've kind of found that, yeah, so many people go into voice acting, and one of the first things they say is that I can do impressions, or I can do this. I can do this with my voice, or I can do this
Yeah,
accent,
people
or
say I
I can
have
do
a great
multiple
voice.
accents.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, or I have a great voice, things like that. Um, and due to that happening a lot, even by like new voice actors saying like, yeah, I'm really good at impressions, or I can do impressions, like that. Um, r- Understandably so, casting directors and maybe agents start to get a bit irritated, by that.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah, because they then have to kind of like work at drilling it into those people that it's great that you can do that, but that's not really going to get you anywhere, because there's already a Mickey Mouse. There's already a Krusty the Clown, there's already an Elmo. Yeah, and we're looking for something different, something that's authentically you. And so I totally get that. But it does beg the question, why am I talking about it though? In one voice. It's because I found on a certain level that it has helped me, in certain ways, the art of mimicry. Because I found that it's helped me to become more aware of certain aspects of my voice and where certain voices in general come from,
Yeah,
as well.
where they sit, certain places in the world, it sits a little further in the throat, a little more up in the nasals, so it's like
Mm.
there's so many different aspects to it. And, back to what you were kind of saying, I think it's so important, you like you were saying, the nomination connection that you made, that was you networking. And I don't think people realize the amount of direct marketing and networking that you need to do as a voice actor. And everyone's like, oh, well, I can do impressions and, I can do this. And, but it's like, your talent and I think your skills is probably about 20% of voiceover. And then 80% is you networking and making those connections and like making those, pushes and stuff. And, it's so, and don't get me wrong, it's amazing to have agents. I love my agents. But you need to find work outside of your agents. And I think a
Yeah,
lot of
you need to
people
be
don't,
proactive. Yeah.
yeah. And like a lot of people don't realize that. But, I think you hosting that impressions workshop there, I think that's probably people that have realized that, where it's like, okay, I need to put a little bit more, more in than just impressions. So, ideally people that I would say are going to one voice are people that realize like, okay, yes, I love doing impressions, but like, there's also this. It's not like, people that are just kind of coming off the street, so to say, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Although, yeah, at the same time, though, here's the thing. With the impressions presentation, not only am I going to be demonstrating, but I'm going to be showcasing, well, sharing my methods, how I actually mimic. And I'm going to give like actual examples of how it has helped me with certain roles and maybe combining certain voices I've heard before, creating a unique one, as well.
That's cool. I like that.
And even the reason why it has helped me with accents, I break that down. Like, oh, wow. So that actor, he has that accent. And I sometimes impersonate that actor. That's that accent, like
Yeah.
that. And I've had that at times. Um, yeah. So it's a really fascinating discovery as well. One time I voiced a villain in a video game that had to be, was it like 75 years old, evil, seedy British dictator, as well, just very classic of a kind of, I don't know, a little like, just, creepy and sinister, as well. And so we played around with that, and initially I was kind of working in, like, when I was testing it out, a mixture of a couple of different voices when we started the session, and I started getting a bit of an idea of like the options, and that I could bring to them. Will establish this before we start with the lines, the dialogue. I would kind of say like, okay, so I could go just a bit more strong, and bassy, so I could make it more Sir Ian McKellen, that sort of sound, like that,
Yeah.
yeah, or I could have it even like I don't know, like older and wiser,
A little more
almost like
decrepit.
Sir, yeah, like Sir David Attenborough of
Yeah,
planet
David
Earth, yeah,
Attenborough.
like
Yeah.
that. And so I said, if you want, it could just have more of the bass, like that. And then he said, maybe, yeah, something like that. Add more of the bass, more strength, and maybe proclaim things a bit more, like that. Just the intention. And so that is when I just imagined that old-fashioned sort of microphone, almost like a gramophone in front of me, and thinking back to maybe really old, like, I don't know, radio shows that my dad had on tape that I used to listen to, uh, that had like a certain speech pattern, or maybe like old, like TV shows or movies, or certain historical clips I saw of certain British politicians giving speeches. Even like Winston Churchill, and or like even Ray Fiennes in the what was it, the King's Speech. Who had to stutter.
Yes.
As well. Thinking of all these different things like that. And so that would seem to kind of create more strength, from there. And when I'll get that into my head, and I would start to, in my head, just kind of go back to seeing those, and then I would hear them, and eventually this voice would come out, and it would have like a certain shake, a certain conviction in the voice, like that. And yes, so it was almost like it's like, do possess the means to pay, or you will face severe consequences, like that. And so, yeah, and at times I would have that shake to show that age, as well. And yeah, so I feel like mimicry did help as well. Yeah,
Yeah, and
because you put your body into it when you mimic at times. Yeah.
right. And I think even, when I'm doing even, commercial reads, even, stuff like that, it's like people don't realize that we're voice actors. So it's like we're still acting, still in the booth. It's like recently I got it was like a principal. It was a principal role, and I ended up getting shortlisted for it. But I'm like standing in the booth, and I'm like, hands on hip, like doing that, and just like, all right, we need some authority here. Okay, let's dial it back. All right, and just kind of like confident, like they want to you kind of have like a little bit of a tude. So I was like, all right, but people don't realize, and just like expressions, right? Like, and just moving your hands around, and just like you said, imagining this microphone and stuff. How important would you say that is to do that extra stuff in the booth, aside from just, standing there and talking to a mic?
Very important, because it totally changes the feel of it. And honestly, the voice doesn't come out quite right unless you really embody it. And it wasn't too long ago I put up a video. It was just talking about something that voice actor Tony Plattis, yeah, Tony Plattis said. That lots of people in voice acting are feeling like AI is the big threat, like the really big threat. But she's actually discovered that the actual really big threat, even bigger threat, is the word cringe. People
Yes, I
yeah,
saw that.
there you go. It was fantastic. It was a really good
Yes.
point that she made, and because I mean, those of you out there who haven't actually seen this or know about this, it's just people who are too afraid of looking silly. And they keep using that word cringe, and these are like new voice actors, and there seems to be a bit of a rising epidemic in these new voice actors who hold back now. It's a self-consciousness, or something. The voice actors who really do make it, they really put themselves into it. They do not care about how crazy they look, as well, when they're voicing creatures or animals, or just going off off cuff, as a certain character or something, and they're flailing their arms around. They are doing the weirdest of faces. They're using their body. They're stood up, crouched over, that kind of thing, and that's what it's about. Because as soon as I saw that video, I started to think back to certain comments I've had, on certain social media videos, and I mean, luckily for me, I'm very comfortable in myself, and who I am, as a person, as a voice actor. I just focus on the fact that this is something that I love to do, that I always want to get better at, and I always want to improve on, and I want to do it totally. So if I was somebody who wasn't completely accepting of myself, if I wasn't completely settled in myself, those comments would have held me back even more, would have made me self-conscious. I would have started to feel bad about myself. That's why these days when I see those kind of comments saying, "Oh, geez, this is a grown-ass man, by the way," it's like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like that. And it's like, why are you pulling those faces? Things like that. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems to motivate me more, really, because yeah, I'm the one who knows why I do it.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I feel like
it's how it makes it work. Mm.
yeah, and I feel like those are the same people that probably are gonna have a midlife crisis or something, where they're just, probably just projecting. And
Yeah.
most arts, I would say you got to get weird at some point, and voiceover is one of those. Acting is, you got to get weird. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You know, you're acting, you know, and
Yeah.
I think that's when beautiful things happen, right? When you get weird, you get out of your comfort zone and do these things that you're like, all right, that happened, you know, like, so, you know,
Yeah,
actually
absolutely.
recently we both got an audition of making dolphin noises from
Right?
our agent that we share. Um, yeah, that was a weird night for me. I don't know about you, but
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, you know what? It was a weird night in this house in general, you know, just because on the other side of this wall is the lounge, and my partner on the couch freaked out for a moment thinking it was our puppy, like crying. And I had to open the door and remind her that no, it's me. I'm just trying to figure this out. It says, okay, all right, okay, right, okay, dolphin, dolphin, okay. You know, like I'm just doing this and
yeah.
I'm just trying to play with it and
I ended up finding out.
go
I don't know
for
if
it.
because I'm sure you did research as well, but
Yeah, I did.
the noise that everyone hears, like on, you know, I think the SpongeBob dolphin noise that everyone knows, that's not a dolphin.
Oh,
It's like a cap. Is it like a pitched up capybara or something? I don't know. It's
I
something
don't know. I
that's.
didn't even look up SpongeBob. I just looked up just dolphins.
Well, I
I
was
think
looking up
maybe a
dolphins, but
SeaWorld
then,
or
you know,
something.
I go down this rabbit hole and it's just like, did you know that the dolphin noise in SpongeBob is actually a high pitched capybara? And I was like, no way, I
Really?
didn't know that. I was
Oh,
like,
man. Oh,
but
jeez.
it's so fun because I was in the booth and I got all my other auditions done before that because I was like, all right, we're we're gonna save that one. I had some other ones that came in, but I was like, we're gonna do that one, you know. And as I'm doing it, I have an iPad that I use for like my scripts and stuff. Not that we needed a script for that one, but you know, it's kind of like positioned in the position of my mic. I can kind of see it in my kind of peripheral, and I see it pop up April Fools before I send in the audition, and I'm like, and I
Hmm.
didn't do anything for like I do it for like another 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and then I realize I'm like, wait, that's for that, and I go and look, and I'm like, okay, that they pranked me. I was like, and at that point, I just was like, okay, I need to. I'm hungry. I was getting to the end of the booth session. I was like, I closed my laptop. I walked out. I was like, I laughed. I thought it was hysterical, but I'm like, my booth was, you know, I don't know what in Celsius off the top of my head, but it
Yeah.
was like 87 degrees. It was getting so
Oh,
like, I'm like sweating. I'm like,
man alive.
and I was just like, you know, you got me. And I love those
Yeah.
guys over there. So, you know, but it was good. I really appreciate them. Um,
Yeah, it was a funny prank. I mean, yeah, one or two people who got to know about it, you know, yeah, they're like, oh, I'd be so angry if that happened to me, you know. But you gotta see the funny side, and luckily it was only a little, very short thing, you know. And yeah, and if nothing else, through this, I kind of learned that I can add dolphin to my wheelhouse, you
if
know,
you
as
guys
well.
actually need
Uh,
dolphin animals, let me know.
Yeah, yeah, because I was
So funny.
conversing with one of my friends who actually referred me to this agent, and yeah, and she said she didn't do it because she kind of felt like it was a prank, and she doesn't like pranks, so she didn't fall for it. And it's like, oh, good for you as well. And yeah, and I was telling her that yeah, I felt stupid. I was doing backflips in the bathtub and everything, and it's just
Doing the real method acting. It's
right,
funny. I had like a straw, you know, I was trying all different things to like
yeah.
get it going. I'm just like, and the straw, I had like a straw with a water bottle. I didn't even know like, but it was right there. I was like,
Oh
and then I got that
man.
come in. I'm just like, all right. I'm walking,
Jeez.
but it was, oh man, it was so funny. I love
It
those guys over
was,
there. And
yeah, because it was, yeah, honestly, it was only like really short sound. And oh jeez, I can't remember the name of it. There's like a British comedy here. There's a guy who has to do voiceover in the most like weird ways. And it's funny because he's called into the booth. On the other side of glass, behind the audio engineer, you have like just a few people who are the clients. And and let's see, he has like this piece of paper, you know, like I just handed to him, and he looks at it, and it just basically says one word on it. It's like yes, yeah, and so he's kind of saying like, "Is this it? It's just one word." You know, like that. It says, "Yeah, yeah." You just play around with it to see what happens, like that. And he kind of goes, "Yes." like that. And then the quiet, and you could see them just chatting behind, like that and everything. And he says, all right, okay, maybe more enthusiasm, like more optimism. It's like, more optimism. Just this one word. It says, yeah, just have fun with it. Right. And it's like, okay, yes! Then they're
Yes?
chanting again. Yeah, and then he kind of says like, all right, so now, well, let's just try just loosening up. I think the script is holding you back. Like, can you just like, yeah, just move the script away, and yeah, just loosen up a bit. He says, well, it's just one word, so it's okay. Yeah, just lose the script. Okay, right. Yeah, and it just carries on for ages like that.
I love that. That's so funny.
Oh, jeez.
Have you
Just
seen
reminds me.
it was I think it was like I don't know if it was I don't think it was real. I think it was a spoof, but it was a Disney audition. But it was this girl, she's like, I'm here for the princess role of, and then she goes into it and she's like, Petunia Tabernacle, and it's just like this. It's so funny. And they're like, could you just dial it back a little bit? And then she's like, okay, yeah, for sure. Petunia Tabernacle was a princess. It's just, if you haven't
I think
seen
I've
that,
seen this.
I gotta
couldn't
send
quite
it to you.
remember.
It's so hilarious, but
Oh,
I
jeez.
love that.
If nothing else, it was somebody who just wasn't holding back, right?
Yeah.
But it's so off a princess, though. It's oh my
Petunia.
goodness.
It's so good.
It's gonna be stuck in your head now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have to say though, one of my one of the people I trained under, Angela Malhotra, is fantastic, and she's done a lot of work for Nickelodeon. One of the whole bunch of things that she helped me with was the mistakes, to at times embrace them, just use them as well, because it can be one of the things that sets you aside and makes it more dynamic, more grounded, and everything. Even though there was a role in particular I didn't get, we were going through the scripts like an audition for an animated series where I was kind of like head of a King's Guard. Like just patrolling the castle, just making sure that the royals, these mermaids are safe, basically. Even though I'm like the head of security, I am the one who has the big crush on the princess. And the princess, being the rebel she is, she wants to go on this adventure, and so she kind of sneaks out. And she basically comes up behind me, and that's where I kind of, as a character, freak out, when I see her. And, so it's almost like, and I'm supposed to say Princess Melinda or something like that, says, Princess Melinda, And what happened, like after a couple times of doing that, I messed up her name. I actually messed up her name by accident. And I, just kind of stopped and said, oh, hang on, wait, let's just start again. And Angela just said, no, use that. Because I kind of gone like, Princess Melinda. Oh, wait, sorry. Can I just,
Yeah.
mess that up, like, and so now, she really made me think about that, saying that you'll be caught off guard, and you'll kind of fumble it. So now I want you to do that, just naturally fumble it. And when you get the name right, I want you to kind of put the front on, the persona on, So it ended up just, instead of being simply like, it's like, Princess Melinda, like that. Very simple, not bad. But it turned into something like, it's like, Princess Melinda, Princess Melinda, good to see you. Like that.
I love that. I think it's so important, especially with character and animation. It was kind of like end of last year. I was actually getting a lot of characters and animation and video game stuff, and I think it's so important to just push through that push through the script, and keep getting, just hold that, like you said, not breaking character, and just like make it part of the character, if anything, and then from there you were able to come up with like, okay, I'm gonna do this little stumbling into Princess Melinda, and kind of like
Mm.
into this stern bit. And yeah, and I mean, I'm sure if you didn't take that approach, you might have, different results, so to say.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it was different because well, when you do something occasionally bold, even in like one of the takes that you send in, you can better ensure that maybe not many people thought to do that. Lots of people would kind of read it the same way and punctuate the same way and everything. So, yeah, you can find your way to mess things up a bit, you know.
Well, yeah, I think
Really.
that's huge too, because with auditions, especially if you're sending to agents, you got hundreds, thousands of people sending in, and it's like if you get that little differentiator that kind of changes your audition, and be like, oh, I like that, I
Mm.
think that's what gets you booked, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because it's sometimes it's just the little bits of magic as well beyond the words. Um, the Bounce Laundry Monster, I believe his name is Pete, the little furry orange guy in the adverts.
Yeah, I've
I
seen them super cool stuff, and
yeah,
congratulations. I was actually going to jump on that, so I'm glad we're shifting
thank you.
into.
Thank you, because no, because it's just made me think about when I was auditioning for it, because, an agent yeah, one of my agents actually sent me that audition, and, then about 3 different voice actors sent me the audition as well, saying that this is right up your street because they're looking for somebody who can do very cartoony voices, um and yeah, I can't quite remember the actual description, of the personality, but it's just somebody who doesn't really have that much awareness of the issues that he's causing, to people's laundry, static and, sucking the freshness out of your laundry and everything. He's just having a good time, but he's just oblivious. That's the weird thing about him. And so we want a few takes with different voices, voice options. And seeing that he was like this cute little gremlin guy, this round thing, with like this big smile, and he looked really happy. He had these big, like really cute eyes, as well. And I'm just kind of going through these different cycles. It's like, what was it like? I steal the freshness from you just washed laundry. That was it, yeah. So it's kind of going from like, I steal the freshness from you just washed laundry. And it's like, I steal the freshness from you just washed laundry. Doing stuff like that. And it's like, I steal the freshness from you just washed laundry. Well, I steal the freshness from you just washed laundry. And it keeps going from different ones.
Yeah.
But but in between though, saying that, because there was more to it than that. It came to one take in particular where I would do things like I steal the freshness from your just washed laundry. Like that, and I would just put these little chuckles and things like that, and stuff like that. Just like an emotional sound, or him having fun in a way. And so when I got the word that I got booked, and it was said to me like, "Are you free for a session on this day?" And I was like, "Is this an actual booking?" And he said, "Yeah, it is." And it's like, "Oh, cool. Okay, so I get to be Pete," um, and so when I was talking to the clients, I got them to play back the one particular voice that they wanted me to use. So they pulled up the audition, and yeah, so it was the slight gravel where I still made him sound small, and everything. And the remote direction experience was so interesting. It really was because uh, after I kind of went through the script for one of the spots and just sort of made him mischievous and things like that, where I kind of went like uh-oh, bounce. I stole the freshness from your just washed laundry. Like that. And then he would just kind of say, all right, just to let you know though, he's not really evil. Just remember that. He's not evil. He is having the time of his life. He doesn't really want to hurt anyone. He just basically wants to have fun. But he is just completely unaware of the issues he's causing. Like that. So that's the misunderstanding there. So I made him sound harmless, just kind of like enthusiastic, and kind of took the pitch up a bit, like that, and went through the dialogue over time for 3 different spots. So currently, as we speak now, there's just one spot that's being streamed on TV. Your side of the world right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the US, Mexico, and Canada, and yeah, even like streaming platforms. Amazon Prime, things like that, but worldwide on YouTube. But I think maybe in a couple months or a few months or so, yeah, the second spot will be out. For
That's
the
awesome.
following year, and there will be a third spot out after that. Yeah, here's the thing as well. I knew that we were getting so close to the end of like the session, that they paid for, and so when we had at least 2 minutes to go, like 2 or 3 minutes to go, they would say to me, "All right, okay, so now we've gone through all the dialogue, and we're just going to hit record, and if you could just improvise, just different types of sounds, like giggles, laughs, just tumbling around, jumping like you're on a roller coaster, things like that." And so they hit record. I just went nuts.
That's so fun.
I just banked so many different ways of him giggling and laughing and jumping and having a sock land on him or a bounce sheet landing on him or something. Yeah. And so that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's always cool
So
to get that, creative freedom, and
mm,
congratulations. That's awesome. That must have been, an amazing feeling for that to kind of come through and kind of happen.
absolutely. Yeah, it felt good and it really felt nice to be able to create this adorable little gremlin, with the client. And just even having the client say to me that he had been looking forward to this recording session, for the longest time. Um, and and just the fact that he said that he wants his character to live on for a few years, as well. And yeah, it's nice seeing him just living like in live action, I would say. His anime character with a real person, like literally in someone's hair,
Yeah,
just
I love
with the
that.
DMV and
It's
everything.
so
And
funny.
yeah, yeah. But I look forward to having you guys see the other two over time that will come out. Yeah.
Definitely send it to me. I mean, I'm sure it's funny because as a voice actor, it's so funny how like my brain has shifted with like ads and TVs and stuff, because now it's like before is like I was mad that I had uh Hulu and stuff with like subscriptions and like wanted ad free, but now I'm like, no, give me the ads. I want to hear the ads, and it's funny
Mhm.
because a lot of times sometimes I don't even be paying attention to like what's playing, and then like ad comes on, I'm like, and everyone else tunes off, and like I'm over here like
Yeah.
I'm like, shh, I'm trying to.
Yeah, and
That's
take this in, like even if it's a car commercial and you're kind of thinking, okay, how is that drawing me in? And yeah, and it's like, yeah, they are really blending the words together. They got that smoothness, and you're trying to log that away, in your
Yeah,
head.
and trying to
Yeah, it
keep because
helps.
it's always changing, so you're trying to keep relevant and trying to go with the motions and stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I'm back to the character. I think it's so important when you do actually get, especially in character work in animations, when you actually get to see the character,
Mhm.
because seeing, oh, he's smiling, he's got big eyes, he's a little furry ball thing, he's not like this giant monster with a smart, so like when you're doing that, you're smiling, you're trying to emulate him, but at the same
Mhm.
token, like you were saying, like you're going into it, and then he's like, actually, I want to kind of go this way. So it's interesting how sometimes the specs just kind of just end up just going a different direction in the
Mhm.
booth.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why it's good not to be set in one particular way. For instance, uh, I can't really talk about it really, but I am like one of the main characters in an animated series that I have to keep traveling to London for. Because even going down to London, I have the scripts given to me, beforehand, and maybe I'll look over it just to kind of color code my parts and find out what's happening, like in this, and then I put it away. I'm not going to be looking at it
Yeah.
the whole journey,
Don't
because I
overanalyze
don't
it.
want to end up being rigid in my head, you know, because if nothing else, I'm coming with just a bit of an idea, if needed. But ultimately, I am following the directions, well, the director's idea. Yeah. Um, yeah, because it's not about you in the end, it's about the well, what the client feels is right, what the client's vision is, and when it comes to one or two moments where they don't really know how to describe something or they don't really know what they want, that's where you can step in. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as creatives and stuff, it's like we gotta be confident in the booth, but not cocky, if that makes sense. Like we
Yeah.
don't want to. We're confident, we're in here, but like you don't want to. You want to be enjoyable to work with. I think that's part of the battle too, and staying versatile, I think, is huge. Like for me, same thing. Like I'll probably run through the script, depending on what it is. Maybe like, oh, there might be a little tongue twister area that I'm like, all right, like play around with it, and other than that, but just leave. And sometimes what I've actually been doing, which has helped me, is I won't even read the specs, and then I will just, as particularly for commercial and like kind of promo and stuff, but I won't even read the specs at first, and I'll just read it how I interpret it, and then I go back and then read the
Mm.
specs, and then throw in a couple more and kind of decide from there. And I've noticed like I'm pretty spot on with what I'm trying to go for, well, what they're going for in the specs, so
That's cool.
um, it's
I know some
it's
people
cool
do
to
that too. That is good.
see your brain do that, and I think it's so important to be versatile, because if you're versatile, then the script doesn't matter as much, because you have the tools, so to say, to pull it off, whatever voices it might be, so
Mm.
how important it is to stay versatile and just understand the specs in voiceover.
Yeah, it's extremely important, just to be moldable. I mean, aside from like the actual different voice types, it's just the acting choices as well. Um, and I think because there are so many different ways of laughing, there are so many different ways of giggling, and a good director can describe something properly and it just clicks in your head. It's
Yeah.
just yeah. So you need to be kind of prepared and ready to receive that sort of thing and just understand what it is they're after. Yeah.
It's funny. I actually remember you bringing up the doing the London thing, and it was around the time that I was reaching out for the dubbing. I don't think we ever kind of conversated about how that went after, but
Mm.
I didn't get the script until about 2 minutes before, and it's dubbing, so there, you got the video and stuff, and
Uh,
he was doing a lot of laughing. So it was for Air Canada, and
okay.
I was doing one of the, actually also French to English, Canadian French to English. I was doing a dubbing, and
Mm.
it was one of their speed skaters on the team. And it's funny, we're like the same height, and I was just like, huh, I mean, maybe that plays into it, but I'm in there and I'm just like, wow, he's like laughing a lot, like as he's just talking, he's just giggling, and he's just like a goofball. But and they at one, we don't always get feedback in sessions. Any positive feedback is great, right? And at one
Mm.
point, like one of the people was like, "You're really good at the laughing thing," I was like, "Ah, thank you," because I was like, "Am I doing it too much?" But yeah, it was super great. It went super great. We started late, so I'm
Mm.
over here like we're 10 minutes behind, and I was like, it was like a 30-40 minute session, I think, so it was pretty quick, session.
Yeah.
We ended up finishing about 5 minutes early. Like we cranked it out, and I was,
Wow.
super proud. And yeah, it felt really good. And I took your advice too, because I remember you telling me before, ask them if they need anything. Do we need any more
Yeah.
lines run and all that? And yeah, I've tried to implement that. And any session that I'm in, if we finish up early, like, hey,
That's
would
good.
you want to run anything back? So
Mm.
I appreciate your help on that too, and
Oh, I'm glad.
was
No
was
worries.
successful.
No, no, my pleasure, my pleasure. Because look, there is value in that because then it doesn't just become about like what you're able to do as an actor and what kind of voices you can do and what you can actually deliver, but your attitude. what you're like to work with and just how helpful you are, as well. Because I know I described it to you. It's the reason you brought it up anyway. That's a video games character I did for a children's video game. um, it was a 2-hour session, I believe, and it was a lot of lines of dialogue, when they're going through them and things like that. But yeah, we finished an hour and a half into it. That was it. We got to the bottom of the Excel document. And so that's where I offered it up, if there's anything else you want me to do. So I improvised different reactions. And lo and behold, I heard from the casting director like a couple months later that they were very keen to get me back because they really enjoyed working with me. And they sent over a couple more characters just for me to audition for, because I had to actually do voice matching, see if I could sound like the original characters. And so one of them was a little too similar to the original character I did, but the other one, after a couple of goes, they felt like I got it spot on. It was a very unusual kind of sound. And yeah, so I'm recording with them in the summer, and they just really wanted me back, not just because of the vocal dexterity performance style, but the fact I was helpful, that I would offer this up. I wouldn't have the attitude that, hey, great, I finished early. I'm a great voice actor. I'm very efficient. I can go now and do something else. No, they paid for the time, so I'm going to offer it up. You have me for about 30 minutes, so yeah.
When you go into the audition, you can kind of have that attitude where you're like, I'm going to get this, I'm the voice for this, and like have that confidence in yourself. But also like when you're in the session, make a good impression, be nice. And it's a collective thing. We're all a team trying to make something happen. And I think that's another thing that I feel a lot of people kind of forget when you're in a session is, it's so important to remember that they want you to succeed too. This is why they brought you in. They like you for a reason. There's a reason they brought you in for a session. They're not going to waste their time. Their time is very valuable, especially with studios and stuff. So it's like, I think that's a big thing too, to kind of remember when you're in the session, like, hey, like they hired you for a reason, and they want you to succeed. Everyone wants you to succeed here. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes people forget that. But they always have to remember agents, casting directors.
Yeah.
They are rooting for you. Yeah.
I know you're definitely one of the most positive people I see kind of doing their thing. And I think a lot of people in the industry is positive. I shouldn't even knock that. But you're just, you radiate great energy. But just curious, this isn't the industry to really be easily discouraged or kind of, but it does have its flows, it's got its up and downs. How do you stay motivated, and how do you keep pushing when things are feeling a little bit kind of south, so to say?
Oh, it's challenging, right? That's the question right there. I find that aside from keeping some sort of contact or communication with other people in the industry, just even conversing about this thing that we love, you find that you kind of pick each other up. Yeah, you kind of distract yourself from just how rubbish you were feeling a moment ago. I guess, you kind of getting that reminder of why you're doing this. But at the same time, creating, my goodness, that's like the best medicine, creating your own thing from time to time. And not just to sharpen your skills, but just to really keep my passion up there. And yeah, I think that's what it's doing for me. That's why, at times when I'm talking to people about this, that I do kind of seem optimistic and energized and everything, not just simply because I love doing this, but because, I'm getting those little reminders every time I create something. Yeah. And
I think
it just helps a lot.
I was going to say it's I think it's definitely detrimental to have some sort of network. Even we're in these isolating booths, literally, so it can be tough sometimes, even winter time or whatever it might be, not too much vitamin D happening, and you're just in your booth and kind of going through the motions and making it happen. And, it's easy to kind of spiral, for sure. So I think it's huge to have that network, have the other people like, hey, it's not working right now, and I need to scream to another voice actor about it,
Yeah, just to get some advice, or one of the things I do is if there's a particular voice actor that I really want to talk to, that I'm curious about, that we just connected, but want to just have that kind of Zoom conversation with them. I've done this with a whole bunch of voice actors. Just have a Zoom conversation with them, just even for an hour or something, and just I call it a geek out session. Just me and this other voice actor. I learn more about them. They learn more about me. And, there are times where you find that you can help them out a bit. And usually at times I find that I learn what I don't know. Yeah, as
Yeah,
well.
and
And
we
it can
got
be
so much
very
to learn from each other.
unexpected. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, we have I think a lot to learn from each other. And creatives in general are just, we bounce off, like you were saying earlier too, just working with casting directors, or someone in a session. They might ask for your feedback because it's like, well, this is what this guy does, this is, I don't know, I want a little something. And you might even be able to help them too, and kind of what they're kind of working on too. So
Mm.
yeah, I think that's big, to just communicate, talk to friends. And I don't think networking is necessarily about just making, business connections. Like it's
Mm.
about connecting with other voice actors too, for sure. And I appreciate your connection, and you've been awesome to connect with. And yeah, I'm really excited to um kind of work with you too in the future, because I plan
Yeah.
on anticipating doing some classes with you. And let's
Yeah, that's great, man. Mm.
we can segue there. So
Yeah, of course.
how can people find you? What do you got going on for classes? I know you do multiple one-on-ones, and you have workshops, stuff of that nature. I think you have one actually coming up soon, right?
Yes, yeah, I do. People can contact me via my website. My email address is on there, and it's my website is chriswoodworthvo.com. My full name with vo at the end.com. In turn, my email address is chriswoodworthvo@gmail.com. Yeah, so that's easy to remember as well. So that's on the website. And I do like multiple workshops, really. The one I have coming up is a social media workshop. That's
Yes,
one I've
I know you
taught
got
the
the
most.
social
Um,
media, the one-on-one for kind of starters, some dubbing and stuff of that nature. Yeah.
yeah, because I have them for different things. But the social media one, it's literally about how to market yourself using social media, and just connecting with potential clients, and making a name for yourself, and being able to create and post, but without coming across as egotistical. Just having that good balance of giving back, I would say, and not making it all about you. The right way to break the ice with potential clients. And I talk about the differences between the various platforms as well. And I make people feel empowered and less afraid of trolls. It's a bit of a reality check that I go deep into, as well.
I love
Because I
that.
know so many people who have literally bailed because of trolls. And it's a sad thing. It just covers a lot of do's and don'ts, what I've learned over my many years of using social media for different things, and the achievements, the many achievements I've had through social media, like all the agents I'm with and things like that. But so that's coming up on the 9th of May. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
But anybody who can't make a group workshop that I do occasionally, um, they have the option to do it one to one, with me. So those details are on the website. So the others I do is for people who are getting into voice acting and want to figure out how to get into voice acting and everything. Intro to voice acting. A workshop. I taught a one-to-one recently, and helped this guy have more of a focus. So he's really excited to get started. So that's like an intensive kind of workshop, just with me, and lots of opportunities to ask questions and things like that. Um, There is an impressions workshop where people who attend, or if you're doing a one-to-one, you get to work on 2 impressions with me, where you can choose 2 impressions to do, or you could get me to choose for you. After I've listened to 1 or 2 of your demos or anything, and I'm actually teaching a one-to-one tomorrow. With that, so he has chosen to work on SpongeBob and
Okay,
also Solomon from Peaky Blinders, Tom Hardy's character. Yeah.
cool. I got
Mhm.
SpongeBob's laugh down, but that's about it. I don't know if I
Yeah.
can pull anything. Hold on, I'm gonna need more juice before I. No. No. All right,
You do
ready?
know. That's it. There you go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hi, it's Andy. Hi, Squidward. But
So, come on, you
No,
got
this
the
is
pitch. That's
Patrick.
good. Yeah, because I had someone in class do SpongeBob, and he could already kind of do SpongeBob, but I was kind of helping to make it more particular and how to make it stand out from all of the other impressions that people do of SpongeBob. You
Yeah.
know, I think the youngest person I had in the workshop was, I believe, 16 years old, at the time.
Okay.
Very, very talented
awesome.
voice actress. She did Lilo. She got her voice very young, and then she got older and did Emma Watson. Yeah,
That's
so
cool.
she got that sound, and it was really good. And the oldest person I've had in the impressions workshop was, I believe, 84 years old.
That's
Yeah,
so cool. I love that.
he did. I think the last time he did it was Christopher Walken. Yeah,
I love a
and
good Christopher
oh,
White. We need more cowbells.
yeah, because what I described, because even though Christopher Walken, it's not saying like all these impressions that I teach that people choose. It's not saying that I do these impressions, but I can get very particular.
Yeah, help you
Like
find your voice. You know
yeah,
the elements to get there. To-
yeah, and focusing on personality as well, that helps. And so I'd help this guy with Christopher Walken, because if you think about it, Christopher Walken kind of has quite a normal voice that just kind of takes off every once in a while,
Yeah.
like that, or just kind of goes suddenly silent, kind of paced out and low and serious, like
Yeah.
that.
I'm from New
So
York.
you'll go from doing that, like Christopher Walken, to doing Uncle, I think is it uh, Uncle Bert, I think is it, from Mary Poppins. I love to laugh.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that. Who had more of a like a deep tone, and he was getting it. It's like I went to go and buy some underwear. Like that. Yeah, and and then I'll get him over time to stick his tongue out just a bit more to get that beat, like that and everything.
A
And
little
we
bit
would
of a
have
lift.
so much fun, and it was fantastic hearing people's voices transform. And it's a lot of fun. It's a cool skill to have. Authentic voice workshop. I only do that one-to-one at the moment. So there is an option of just doing one single hour, or you can book a block of 4 sessions, because all these individual like one-to-one workshops, they are catered to a time and dates that were both available, as well. But authentic voice, it's helping you to perform very grounded characters without changing your accent and without changing your tone, like actually using your natural voice. There are so many voice actors out there, even new voice actors, who struggle to get expressive and have feeling without changing their voice. And I had that issue as well, but because I'm a sucker for doing monologues and things like that, online, even using my natural voice. As students hassled me until I created one of these, and and now I've taught a few students this, and it's still going. I've really helped people get grounded with it and embrace their natural voice, which is, I'm very proud of them to see that anyway. And I think finally, it's just, I have a digital workshop, but there's the option of having it one-to-one if you want hands-on instructions on how to do dubbing videos, for social media, how I create those, how I edit those, and how I have inadvertently discovered the art of dubbing and tapping into a character's rhythm, and yet not just doing a voice, but keeping a performance there, and the environment, and having all the different levels and everything, and even though you're doing things in time. So I actually do have a whole breakdown about that. Yeah. Mm.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely that's one of the ones I'm actually interested in myself. I would definitely want to check that out, and we'll certainly be in touch because I'll be taking some sessions with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, one more thing, sorry. Yeah, just
Yeah,
to
no
mention,
worries.
and even though I haven't put it on my website, and I will at a certain point once they're done, I have now started, because a student asked me to, and I took time mulling it over, but I did it. I now produce animation demos. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, for
That's
people.
awesome.
Yeah, because uh, yeah, one of my friends, who really wanted to get more into the animation side of things, voice and characters for animation, she really wanted me to produce her demo. She really wanted to pay me to do it because she sees my videos and she knows like the audio that I edit and how particular I get with it, and my experience voicing animated characters and everything. And so I literally do everything from having a consultation meeting with you so we can get an arsenal of characters together, because you will actually have had to have done some training in some sort of animation course or something, or workshop, before you do this demo.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I literally then go away, write the scripts, and get them approved by you, and have a live recorded session where I get you to record, all of these live directed characters, and bring it to fruition. So you actually not just have a complete demo with all of the sound effects and music and everything, but you get a voice only version of the demo. And each of the characters that we recorded, you get a copy of each of those files as well, in case you want to do something with it in the future yourself.
Yeah,
Um,
individually.
yeah, because I did someone's demo. They were really happy with it. It's gotten great attention. And I'm in the middle of doing two other people's demos as well.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
And I think that's such a huge thing in the industry. You gotta cast your net out a little bit in terms of stuff you're doing. So that's really
Yeah.
cool. I'm really happy that you got that going. And to anyone listen, it is very, whatever genre of voiceover you decide to dive into, make sure you get proper coaching before you launch into getting a demo done.
Mm.
I think it's just getting a little bit of a Rolodex of different voices and tones and stuff like that. When I worked with JMC, I spent many sessions and decent amount of hours, and worked on commercial narration and promo. We did my commercial demo, and he's like, yeah, these, I think I have six spots on that. He's like, these are the ones you're gonna pull out of your, you
Mm.
can do whenever, and back to being versatile for when you're in sessions and stuff. Those are those voices that those are your kind of foundations to go off of, and then from there you build off of those, and you make your Rolodex bigger, and you keep going, and you can. The great thing is, like, you can reference those too. It's just like, how do I want to kind of do this warm read a little bit? Let me look back at whatever it might be. So yeah, I think to
Yeah.
anyone listening, please make sure you get some coaching with a proper coach. Don't go to a demo mill and just get your demo done. Just find someone like Chris that can kind of help you out. So
Yeah, because look, I will say it, even though around the beginning of my career, I knew I could do all these different voices and things like that, and I could mimic and all this stuff. I had rigorous animation training, as well. A fantastic course with Voice Masters, and yeah, they're fantastic. And um, it was just a fantastic course where over time I had logged down these different unique characters that I knew I could do now. I had created an arsenal over time. And then when I finished that course and I did another like short workshop, I realized I was ready to do the demo anyway. Yeah. So yeah, that I could be directed and I had these unique characters in the bag. And yeah, so yeah, yeah. Definitely get the training all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely detrimental to the voiceover industry, I'd say. Is just, and you know, setting yourself up for success. You know, I think a lot of people going into this think it's pretty expensive to get going. You know, it's not just, you know, you walk into a booth and start talking and you get paid. You know, there's a lot of a lot of layers and a lot of prerequisites that you kind of do beforehand, and then boom, you're in the booth and you just spend a bunch of money, you know, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You just gotta be very what's the word, sensible,
yeah,
with the spending as
for sure.
well. Wish I was more sensible when I was starting out. I got so excited. But yeah, but that's why I keep drilling into people. Yeah. Really think things through.
So
Because
for anyone that's, I guess, a little bit afraid to take the leap into voiceover, what's some words of advice that you could give them?
Mm. There are no shortcuts. I mean, if you're going to do this totally, and yeah, just really learn to be grounded in who you are, because voice acting is not easy. You're going to have to learn to take feedback and not take it personally.
Tough
Just use
skin.
it as an opportunity for growth. Yeah, and really be prepared to listen. Do not get like a big ego, and just make sure that you're an easy person to direct. That you're going to really just open up your ears, properly, and listen more than you talk when you're in class. So yeah. Mm.
Yeah, stay humble and you know, stay prepared. I think is definitely one of the big things in the industry. You know, don't
Mm.
grow an ego, and you'll have a successful. And I think the other thing too, like, you know, I was listening to it was Mark Scott's podcast, the Biopreneur, and they I can't remember who it was exactly, but they were saying how, you know, how detrimental and important it is to surround yourself by good people in the industry and successful, because then it leads to success, good connections, good networking and stuff like that, you know? So I think that's a big thing is, you know, you want to start off on the right foot and have someone that's coaching you and getting you to the point of getting that, you know, demo, and then getting auditions and, you know, moving into that realm. And yeah, I think that's a huge thing.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So no, but definitely very well said. Mm.
Any last words for the podcast? Any parting words that you want to give?
Well, I think what can I say? Yeah, except for, oh, thank you for having me. This has been so swell. Oh, I have just been gushing right now. But yeah, thank you so much from me and Gilbert Godfrey right there.
Hey
Yeah,
man, it's all good,
yeah.
man. No problem. It's just me, baby. What's up? We're gonna do this, man. To go good session, we got Chris Woodworth down here. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I have to say it's been quite a while since I've been on the podcast, so it has been an absolute joy, dear fellow. Yeah,
Well, it's
thank you so
been
much.
absolutely a pleasure to bring on Chris. I have Chris Woodworth again, and for anyone that wants some help in the industry, coaching, and now animation demos, please reach out to chriswoodworthvo.com. His email is chriswoodworthvo@gmail.com if you want to contact him directly. And I'll also have this all in the show notes, his links to his website, all that stuff to make sure you can go in the right direction and find the right Chris.
Thank you. And continue to listen to this guy's podcast. He is a gent. Check out the hat. You got to listen to this guy. All right. He means business. All right. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much, Chris.
But thank you.
Well, that about wraps it up. Thanks for tuning in to Mike Happens Podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe on Spotify and available on my website, voiceswithj.com, and other streaming services. And join me each episode as we explore the beautiful, hilarious, and inspiring ways life shapes our stories. Until next time, remember, every story matters, especially yours.